Hello, welcome back to Catherine's Granny Squares, where I show you how to make granny squares and more. Today we're going to work with the double crochet stitch, and we're going to use it in a little bit of a different way and make a simple scarf. On the table there is a big blanket scarf, and this is made using the front loop only of the double crochet stitch, and that is what we will be doing today. For this scarf I am using a chunky yarn. I'm going for a super chunky yarn, and the one I am using is Marriner Super Chunky. You also need the hook appropriate for your yarn, or like me you might want to play around and go up a size or two. This is actually a 15mm crochet hook, so it is rather big, but it will give a nice drape. You also, when you finished your project, will need a big eyed needle to sew in your ends, and you'll need some scissors just to obviously break off your yarn. You don't need to have any special type of scissors. These are just the ones that I tend to use. So to start off, I have done 21 chains with this super chunky yarn and the big hook. You can make the scarf whichever width you want, obviously, and if you're using a thinner yarn you will need more chains. So we're going to start off by just doing one row of double crochet, just your normal double crochet, where you go into both loops. So we'll do that first. We'll miss the first chain and we'll go into the second chain, and we'll go along and we'll just make one row of ordinary double crochet to give it a nice start for this project and a nice border. I have done some videos on making the chain and making double crochet, so please check them out if you are unsure of how to start those. These videos are aimed for people who are starting to crochet, so just setting off on their journey. So we just go all the way along the first row with a double crochet worked into both loops as normal for that stitch. If you're not used to working with a big hook, if you do decide to try the big hook, just take your time and get those chains into stitches. Just has a different feel working with a bigger hook than it does with your, say, 4mm, 5mm smaller hooks. But of course it will give you a faster growing project. So you'll feel you've achieved quite a lot. So I'm just going along this row of chains and making a row of double crochet. Right to the end. and then turn the work. And then that's your first row of double crochet. Now we're going to do the front loop only. So we'll do one chain as a turning chain, and I'm going to show you the top of the work. You can see it makes little V stitches. The one nearest you is the front loop, and the one furthest away is the back loop. In patterns it will say FLO or BLO, front loop only, back loop only, and that means you just work into the front loop or the back loop, not go through both loops like we've just done for the normal double crochet. So we've done a chain, so we don't work into the chain, we work into this first stitch here, and we'll do a double crochet just in that front loop. And then we'll continue along this row. Just look at the top and you can turn your work slightly to the side to get this loop. Whichever way you find suits you, to get the front loop onto the hook and make your double crochet in that way. It's a variation and it does give a different effect. So we'll go all the way along. Going in the front loop. So just stop and have a look. There's your V's. Turn the work slightly and go into the side, and you'll get the front loop. You can make this scarf using just one colour, or you could add other colours in and make it a stripy scarf. Like the one on the table is, I've made various stripes of different widths in there, just for a bit of variation. If you haven't got a chunky or super chunky yarn, you could double up yarn and work with 2 strands to give a thickness. So we'll go right to the end, working in the front loop. Just be careful when you get to the end that you get your last stitch. And that is the end of that row. So we'll turn the work. Now what you'll see is this ridge. And this is because you have pushed the second loop, the back loop. It's gone back and the front loop is what you've worked into. So you do get this nice texture. So turn the work, do a chain for your turning chain. Some people like to do a chain then turn. It's personal preference, whichever way you want to do it. Do a chain, either way, whichever way you want. And then we'll work again into the front loop and we'll go into, not the chain, we'll go into that first stitch, and again we'll go all the way along and we'll do a double crochet into the front loop only. There's the V's, so it's the loop nearest you. We'll do this row and I'll show you how the pattern evolves. It's very therapeutic crocheting. It's a good de-stressor. You're focusing on your work. It's rhythmic, and just take your time crocheting and enjoy the stitches and how they evolve. Just sit back, relax, and let the yarn work for you, and you'll have at the end of this project a scarf. If you are a subscriber already to this channel, thank you. If you like the videos I do, please think about subscribing. It doesn't cost anything, and then you'll be notified when I do a new video. They're mainly aimed at people starting their crochet journey. I have to say this is my second video with this scarf because I want it to be aimed at people who are starting, and I want them to be able to be confident they can complete the project. I wasn't happy with the first video, that if I was starting I thought no, I'll do another one. So if you've already seen one, if you're already a subscriber, this will be the new one, and I hopefully better explained. So we've come to the end. Make sure you get your last stitch. You've got a nice line there so you know you're at the end. Turn the work, and there we have this lovely fabric created by the variation of going into the front loop. If you want to join another colour, you could do that, or you could just keep on the same colour. If you did want to join, just turn your work as you would do your chain, your turning chain, and because we're doing a double crochet, work half that stitch, so up to the 2 loops. Let's just see, I've got a nice grey here, again a super chunky. Let's bring that in, and we'll lay the yarn across the hook. It's grey on grey, so hopefully you can see that, and we'll just bring those 2 loops through. Now you've got the old yarn here. Let's just cut that off. Pop that out the way. Right, so what you can do, you'll see a lot of crocheters just tie these ends for security. Just tie them, just so you've got some security there, and then you simply carry on using your new yarn. So you would carry on into the next stitch with your front loop only double crochet, and then you'd carry on, and that's joining a new colour. So we'll just go on a few more stitches here, and you can see that will evolve into a lovely colour change, and then when you come to the next row this will all blend in. So we can just carry on doing a little bit while I'm talking here. Make sure you keep on the front loop only. You don't have to do a colour change, you could keep with the same colour of course, but what would be really fun would be to use a variegated multicoloured yarn. You wouldn't have to worry about colour changing or adding in anything, it would just do its own thing. So we'll just go along to the end of this row. So working the front loop only, just keep checking you've got your V, turn it to the side and then do your double crochet. At the end, make sure you get the last stitch. When you've got the length of the scarf to your liking, then when you've got the length of the scarf to your liking, you could end with a normal double crochet to give it a nice border. Down the sides you won't need to do anything because it will make a nice little border itself as you go along, and then when you finish and got the length you want, just cut the yarn and pull the yarn through as normal like you've been doing on other projects. And that is it. That's your variation on the double crochet stitch going into the front loop only, and it makes for a different pattern with this ridged effect. I love it. I hope you do too. And as I said earlier, if you're not already a subscriber, please think about subscribing because it doesn't cost anything, and I will then hopefully see you in more videos. So thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoy doing this different variation of the double crochet stitch, and hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.